What's the coolest strike in UFC 5? It's the leg kick. Don't believe me? I'll prove it. Who's the coolest MMA fighter? Jose Aldo. What's Jose Aldo best at? Kicking legs. QED. I understand, for many people, cool strike is a high kick. It's a counter, a combo, a one-punch knockout. And while these are all cool things that I do like, they're commonplace, pedestrian, jejune. In UFC 5, matches are frequently close-range exchanges of punches and counters, and that's fine. But my question for you is, why should you charge at a castle wall when you can simply undermine it? The leg kick is a tool that allows the crafty outside fighter to control the pace of the fight and to wear down their opponent. If leg kicking were a Magic the Gathering deck, it would definitely be blue-white. But many people would disagree with me. Many people think leg kicks are a weak tool. And I'll say this, they're definitely not overpowered. But if you're not getting anything effective out of your leg kicks, maybe because you either expect too much from the leg kick, it's never going to win the fight by itself, or you're just not using them right. You will rarely, if ever, finish an opponent with a leg kick, even if they have weak legs. Leg kicks, like any kick, put you on one leg. You never want to get hit on one leg. We don't let that happen. So what are the benefits of kicking the leg? Why do it in the first place? Number one, it reduces your opponent's power. Up to 30% once you completely destroy one of their legs. Now, you'll rarely get the full benefit, and your opponent will always be dangerous, but imagine you can take Topuria's power from a 98 down to an 85. That's a pretty nice advantage. Number two, it builds grapple advantage on the feet. By this I mean you will be harder to take down if you have a leg health advantage, and it will be easier for you to take your opponent down. Number three, if you get a good leg kick in, you'll get a hit reaction where their leg will stumble, which gives you a little bit of space. Lastly, and this is the most important, I'll go over this more at the end, it changes how your opponent thinks. It makes them change their style. These are our options. We have the lead calf kick, the rear calf kick, the lead leg kick, the rear leg kick. For linear strikes, we have the lead side kick and the rear oblique kick. Which are the ones we want to focus on? Well, the side and oblique kicks are nice as a changeup. They're linear kicks so they can jam your opponent on the way in, but they're less damaging and they're less reliable. Of the round kicks, we strongly want to prefer the calf kicks because they're simply much faster and the damage is not that much lower. Now, which should we prefer? The lead leg calf kick or the rear leg calf kick? That's a complicated question. The rear calf kick is much more powerful and just as fast, while the lead calf kick exposes you less if you happen to get hit by a punch while throwing it. The truth of the matter is it depends on the stance. We generally want to be throwing outside leg kicks, which means we're kicking into the closed side of the stance. In an orthodox versus orthodox matchup, a closed stance, that means we want to throw the rear leg kick. This is by far the best way to throw kicks. In an open stance matchup, where one fighter is orthodox and one fighter is southpaw, then we probably prefer to throw the lead leg kick. The general rule for kicking is that when kicking below the waist, we want to kick into the closed side. When kicking above the waist, we want to kick into the open side. But this is more of a guideline, not an ironclad rule. You can use both kicks. And now we discuss Yockley's rules for successful leg kicking. If you follow these general guidelines, your leg kicks are going to get a lot better. Number one, when it comes to kicking the legs, discretion is the better part of valor. Recognize when a fight is not a leg kick fight. Sadly, many are not, but to me that's a beautiful thing about leg kicks. They're not a blunt force weapon. They have to be chosen in the right matchups. If your opponent is mugging you, swarming you, insisting that you punch them in the head, then punch them in the head. Don't force a leg kick. Leg kicks do not create space. You need boxing and defense for that. Leg kicks take advantage of space. Number two, never trade punches for leg kicks. When you kick your opponent's legs, you reduce their power. When they punch you in the head, they reduce your chin. Your chin's gonna fail before their legs do. If you're getting countered with punches every time you throw a leg kick, you're not throwing leg kicks in the right situation. You need to feel your opponent out. You need to get a feel for when they're going to be punching, and you don't throw a leg kick then. Of course, sometimes you will wind up getting punched while throwing a leg kick. That's not a reason to stop throwing them, but if it's happening consistently, then you may need to abandon the leg kicks. Number three, look to land leg kicks when your opponent is moving their head or their feet. Now, you can throw leg kicks at a stationary opponent who's standing upright, but these are much less efficient. It'll take a lot of leg kicks to really add up the damage. What you're looking for is either circling or head movement, both of which drastically increase the damage of a leg kick. We would much rather land 5 or 6 leg kicks against an opponent who is slipping, pulling, or ducking, rather than landing 20 leg kicks against someone standing upright. Meanwhile, they're trying to get their offense off on you as well. It's about efficiency. And finally, number 4, recognize when it's time to go away from the leg kick. If your opponent is decent, they will be able to make adjustments to their game plan that will take the leg kick away from you. If they're starting to check your leg kicks and generally playing in a way to make it hard for you to kick them, then the leg kicks have done their job. You're gaining benefit from leg kicks without even having to throw them. Switch it up. There's going to be openings elsewhere. That's the real beauty of throwing leg kicks. The truth of the matter is, you can kick legs with any fighter in the game if your opponent is giving you the opening. But if you're looking for the absolute best of the best, I have a few suggestions. The King of Rio has many fine attributes, one of which is a maxed out leg kick. You can't go wrong with him. Edson Barbosa is the kicking goat, so of course his leg kicks are just as deadly as all his other kicks, but be mindful of his chin when you use him. Leon Edwards has excellent footwork and kicks, and he's got a very high switch stance, so you can always switch from orthodox to southpaw in order to find the angle on that rear leg kick. And in middleweight and light heavyweight, the obvious choice is Adesanya. Okay, big surprise. The god of MMA striking is also the god of calf kicks. Look, using Poatan is sort of like cheating when it comes to striking, but if you're looking to get into leg kicks, there's not a better option. We start with the feeling out process. We probe our opponent with single shots, and we're trying to determine, is this a leg kick fight? Our opponent's looking to counter our jab entries with a slip hook. Then he backs out. So this opponent is showing head movement, and he likes to keep a little distance. Both good signs for a leg kick fight. We test the waters with a leg kick feint. Then we throw a jab into a leg kick. We're just trying to make sure that we're not getting hit by punches as we're kicking. After landing a leg kick, I often like to try throwing a high kick. The goal is not to land it flush, it's to make the opponent think about blocking high, to open us up for more leg kicks. If our strikes and feints create some space, we can often catch our opponent with a leg kick as they step in to correct the distance. Here my opponent's timing catches me off guard and we eat a cross as we go to throw a leg kick. Not a disaster, just something to be mindful about. No leg kick here, but our boxing is starting to open up. Our opponent is now circling away from the leg kick into the path of the left hook, which I like. Which brings me to my final point about the value of leg kicks. They change the way your opponent plays. I like leg kicks because they're best used against good players. Leg kicks work on bad players. Everything works on bad players. Leg kicks are underwhelming against average players who can check kicks but are usually deficient in their boxing defense. Besides, they'll probably move forwards to strike whenever you get within kicking range. Good players are who leg kicks are made for. Good players have effective head movement and defense. Good players are difficult to headhunt. They can react to body kicks. They often will counter body punches. Good strikers sometimes want to use footwork to maintain a bit of distance. The speed of calf kicks allows you to disrupt the plans of good players. It creates another wrinkle for them to worry about. It forces them to change their plans. The goal is not to keep landing leg kicks over and over. It's to get them checking. That's when everything opens up. Leg kicks are beautiful because they make striking dynamic. They force changes in strategy, which requires changes in strategy on your end, and so on, and so on, and so on. We engage our opponent with boxing. This causes them to use evasive maneuvers, head movement, footwork, which opens up the leg kicks, which forces our opponent to square up, stop using evasion, which opens up the boxing. The martial ballet goes on. Well, I hope I've managed to convince you of the value of leg kicks. I hope I've also helped to teach you a little bit about how to apply them. This video could have been a lot longer, but I prefer not to outstay my welcome, and there's just too much detail to get into in one video. Just remember, leg kicks are a beautiful thing not because you can kick your opponent 50 times, but because of the way they interact with all your other striking. There is one more thing you can do, not to make yourself better at the game, but to make yourself enjoy the game better, to make yourself enjoy all games better. Make yourself smarter, wiser, taller, physically stronger, to achieve a higher level of inner peace and understanding. And it's hitting the subscribe button.